Welcome to Making More, the podcast where high-performing business owners and visionary executives share how they're building more than just bottom lines. I'm your host, Billy Fisher, an engineering leader turned business and executive coach, and I'm guided by a personal mission to help leaders create clarity, build forward momentum, and make more of what matters most. Today, I'm joined by Jonah Erbe, President of Leadership Management International. LMI operates in nearly 90 countries, developing leaders and organizations to their full potential. In this conversation today, Jonah and I are going to explore values-driven leadership, servant leader principles, and how a faith-based strategy can scale impact across industries worldwide. Jonah, welcome to Making More.
Billy, thanks for having me. Excited to spend some time with you today.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it as well. We've had to reschedule this for our audience's awareness. We've had to reschedule this a couple times on both ends. We've both had things come up, but I'm excited to get together with you now and help just kind of highlight what you all are doing because it's a great story you've got.
Absolutely. Happy to dive in.
So I think a conversation will focus on leadership, values, and your own framework at LMI. It's a servant-led framework. And it's gonna stray away from what I typically do, which is digging into the personal backgrounds of the individuals. We're going to highlight LMI today.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, we talked initially about potentially like sharing about my background and all those kinds of things. And I said, with all, if it's okay with you, Billy, I don't think many people care about me, nor should they. Let's tell a bigger story than me. And in the spirit of all things LMI, and for me, my faith in Jesus, it's not about me. We're here to wash feet. We're here to serve others, and so let's make it about other people. Let's not make it about me. So I'm excited to talk about this global movement of total leaders, which I would say if you're a total leader, you're a total servant, hopefully, and also my perspective on things and how that works as well.
I love it. It's a wonderful perspective to have. I think that I share it in some ways, and in other ways, I'm just kind of making sure that I've got the right theology and the right pieces in place. But it's something that's always been a
You and
part
me
of my
both.
life. Oh, so tell me about the purpose. There's a purpose statement that LMI has. I don't know if you know it offhand. I think I've got it written down here. Developing leaders and organizations to their full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of companies will have like a mission statement or something. I remember doing like factory tours and different things, and everyone's working and doing what they need to do. And then you look up and there's a big banner on the factory floor, like their mission and all this stuff. But you would ask people like, is what you're doing here, like, are you doing that? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just doing this. And so it reminds me of a story about the three bricklayers. Are you familiar with the three bricklayers? So I'll share it for your audience just in case no one's. I'll go real quick with it. So someone was walking, and he came upon three people laying bricks. Okay, and one person kind of had this like nonchalant look, maybe a little negative look on their face, laying bricks slowly. The second person just had like a neutral look, but they were laying a little quicker than the first person. Third person was laying bricks excellently, doing above and beyond what they were asked to do with a smile on their face. And so this individual goes to that first bricklayer and says, "What are you doing?" That bricklayer responds and says, "I'm just laying bricks. No mission, no vision, no purpose. I don't know, but this is my job. I'm just doing it." Second person, second bricklayer, what are you doing? "I'm building a wall of some kind. I don't know." So they have like a picture of what they're building, a wall, but they don't know a wall to what. That's like half of the purpose. Third person with a smile on their face, what are you doing? That third person goes, "I'm building a cathedral to the Almighty, whom I worship, and I know my children will worship here long after I'm gone." Right? And so that's this beautiful picture of we have to know the whatever, however monotonous or mundane our task is today, we're playing a part in a story that's much bigger than ours. Now you can play that into the faith aspect, you can play that into a corporate aspect. So our purpose statement of developing leaders and organizations to their full potential, we fully believe that. And we say organizations and individuals because all people love to talk about like Apple or Meta or all these different companies. What is a company? All it is a culmination of a ton of individuals with unique needs, desires, giftings that have been endowed to them by their creator, right? And so all we're doing is saying, hey, if you actually want this corporation to thrive, this organization, every single individual has to be developed to their own full potential, and not just professionally, but personally as well, on all levels, right? And so going back to that bricklayers thing, that individual has to know that their personal life is part of a much larger story than just I show up, I go home, that's it, whatever. No, you have a part to play. You are important, you matter, you're loved, you're cared for, and you need to love and care for others and serve others as well, right? You've got this beautiful picture you're a part of, but then also your company is doing something much bigger than you. And you didn't need to know whether you're cleaning the floors or whether you're in the strategic in the boardroom and anything in between, that your part, you are vital to that company, right? You're vital and you're making a difference. Your job may not feel like it as you're plugging away on your Excel sheets, but you know that I'm playing my part. And if I do it excellently, this corporation can do what we've decided we want to do, right? And so that's what we believe. And we have people in 90 countries around the world that are helping people do that, right? So we can only thrive as an organization when we're helping other organizations and individuals thrive as well. So we fully believe that, try to fully embody that. We fail, of course, all the time, try to own our mistakes, but that's what we're striving for every day.
I love that. And so the coaches that work for LMI, is it a franchise model like Focal Point, or how do you all actually employ those coaches that are doing the hard work and talking to the organizations and the businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So they're all almost all independent business owners, right? And so they
Okay.
franchise model here in the US. Overseas, we have master licensees who are over the LMI operations for a certain country or region. And then they'll have franchisees in their countries that are independently owned and operated businesses there. And so when we say we're in around 90 countries, what we mean is we have business owners that are offering LMI services in those countries. And so work for, I believe words are super important, right? And so you don't mean this when you say this, but I always just say, hold up, like yellow flag. No, no, no. No one's working for us. We're working for our people. We're working for our clients. And again, I want to see heaven come to earth, right? And I think one way we can do that is by serving people in their businesses and in their personal lives, right? And so that's what we do. That's all what we do. Whether you're partnered with us as we serve others, that's what we're doing.
Very good. I think again, service at the center of that, serving other people, and like you said, kingdom good. Oh, love that. So tell me how the faith-based foundation shapes practical leadership training in all of the different diverse contexts that you might need it.
Totally. Yeah, that's a really good question, a really good one, right? So yeah, we're faith-based, right? And so that doesn't mean that when you read our programs, it's like, oh, well, I don't believe the same thing they do, therefore I can't use this materials. That's not true. We're in all kinds of countries, all kinds of cultures, all kinds of economic standing, all kinds of everything, niche industries, everything you can imagine, using our materials in all those contexts, right? So what we've done is what I would call the human condition. We all struggle with a lot of the same things deep down, but based on our cultural context, they come out in different ways, right? And so our programs deal with that human condition of leadership, productivity, personal leadership, balanced life, motivating a team, motivating others, coaching and empowering people, delegation, feedback, strategic casting a vision and implementing that vision, managing your time. These are things that all of humanity has struggled with for all of human history. All of us. I mean, you can read early writings thousands of years ago, right? And they're asking the same questions we ask today, just with a different type of language, right? So although we're faith-based, right, this applies to every cultural context. And regardless of what your, faith background is, my goal and our goal is just to serve you. We're just here to serve you. We're here to help you. Whatever goals you have in your personal and professional life, we're here to help you achieve those, right? And our goal is that when you partner with us, you pay for that. Obviously, we have a business to run. However, you should know at the end, because we have tracking built into our programs, you're going to know what you got for what you paid. So again, stewardship, biblical concept, incredibly important to me. If someone pays LMI X amount of money, I want them to know exactly what they got for that amount of money. And so we don't hide anything like that. If a company comes and they say, we want to put 20 people into this program and whatever, we want them to know all 20 of these people got these results. Therefore, we got this much of a positive ROI. We're not coming to people, don't you feel great? It's like, well, feelings come and go. Realistically, what did you actually get? What results did you really get? And so we're trying to actually serve people to help them actually achieve goals that they can measure, no matter what their background is, where they are, no matter what, with all areas of life.
Okay. That's so good. I want to dig in a little bit on like what you all have as a home office, LMI home office, and what your own
Yeah.
planning looks like. Because you told me about something on our intro call that was really unique. I hadn't heard about it in any other company. You
Yeah.
remember what
So
it was?
explain the question a little bit more. Sorry, I don't remember
So,
exactly what it was.
so you have 100-day sprints that you try and
Yeah.
carry out an objective within that 100 days, and I think you stack them together even to build out kind of that ultimate planning and goal setting.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people have big dreams, right? At least I hope you do. If you don't, that's a whole nother conversation we should have. I think, and sadly, I don't want to make light of that. I think a lot of people are like, I wish I had dreams. I'm a single parent, right? I've got a bunch of kids. I'm working 3 jobs. I don't have any dreams except providing and keeping a roof over my head. And so I get that. And so I want to speak to that as well as, man, for the people that are out there doing that, like we're with you. We love you. We support you. And I can't even imagine what they're going through, right? But I think there is a huge swath of the population globally as well that's saying, I have all these big visions for my life, these dreams, right, that I'm trying to achieve. And um, dreams are fine. That's fine. But dreams don't actually really do much until they become a goal.
Mhm.
And the difference between a dream and a goal is written down and it has a date of achievement on it. You're saying, I'm going to be held accountable to achieve this by this date, and I'll do whatever means necessary to get there. Right. And so let's say I have a goal. Let's just go with a simple one that a lot of people tend to have, right? It's like, I want to lose, someone says, I want to lose 50 pounds or whatever, something like that. Okay, that's an awesome personal goal. Okay, great. Why? What are the benefits? What are the losses to be avoided, the benefits to be gained? And you go through and you're feeling good. Well, no matter how much planning you do, no matter how much prep work you do, at some point you have to actually change your diet and actually go to the gym. You have to. Like, you just have to do those two things. Is it ever going to be like, you know what, now I'm fully ready to do that every day? No, of course not. It's just going to be it's a daily decision. This is hard, but I need accountability. I need a system in place to where I'm pre-deciding how I will behave. I still need to behave that way, right? And so what we've tried to do with all of our clients and with us in turn as well is we want to take these long-term dreams and turn them into long-term goals that are measurable, right? And we can actually attain them. We see crystallized thinking, like I actually see what this will be, right? What will my life look like whenever I do this or our company does this? What can be true of our organization if we accomplish this? But then a lot of people stop there. What we try to do is break that down all the way to tomorrow morning when I wake up, what do I need to do? I think a lot of people wake up and they're like, one, like big question, why am I here? What am I doing? What's my purpose? All these things. If you're asking those questions, I mean, you're going to burn out really quickly. You could have the most fun job in the world, you're going to burn out. It's just going to happen. And so I think that's one of the reasons we see such a burnout epidemic is people are like, I don't even know why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? And so we need to know that, but we need to pre-decide with the end in mind, right? What am I doing this for? Right? Is it how can I serve others with these goals that I have? What am I looking to attain? Whatever it is, I'm not here to tell you what your goals should or shouldn't be. However, we need to reverse engineer that all the way down to what do I do tomorrow? Bite-sized chunks. And so how we do that is let's say you have a 1,000-day plan. That's great, right? It's better than no plan. But you need a 100-day sprint built into that, 10 of those, right? And then you try to break that down into this week, what am I doing? What are my highest payoff activities that I need to do these every day or every week? And then what accountability and tracking do I have in place to actually make sure I'm doing these things every single day, right? And then if we naturally do all those things for 1,000 days, we'll naturally end up at our 1,000-day plan. But if we just try to focus on this big, glamorous 1,000-day or 10,000-day or a year long or quarterly or whatever plan we have, a lot of times it doesn't happen. We have to break it down to where I know when I wake up exactly what I'm supposed to do because I reverse engineered the end dream into an end goal and reverse engineer that all the way down to daily action steps.
hmm The reverse engineering piece is so huge. You can have the best laid plan, the best goal in the world, but if you don't break it down into a way that is sustainable, where you can execute on it daily, these goals just fade away. And I think
Totally.
so many people get lost in that where they they set goals and then they just disappoint themselves because they don't have the structure in place to follow through on those every day. But I think as coaches and as LMI, you all have the ability to really give organizations and individuals the tools needed to achieve these goals.
Yeah. And a lot of people think, well, AI is here, right? So, that's going to solve all of our problems. And let me tell you, it can in some regards, right? Like there's some things it can do, right? So I would say, if let's say I have a few dumbbells at the house, right? And I'm like, I need to start working out. I can say, these are the weights I have. Create a workout plan for me. It's going to do that just like that. That's awesome, right? So it does some of that groundwork. The problem with the human condition that we deal with is I still have to take that plan and go actually work out with those weights like, ChatGPT told me to, right? AI can't actually do the lifting for me. It can tell me how and when and where and all those things, but I still have to do it. And that's where our process comes into filling that doing gap, right? That AI can't fill, right? And so that's what we're here to do. That's a big gap, right? And we're all facing it more. There's no excuses now. It's like I have the whole plan. I can get the whole plan in 5 seconds. But I need to do something with it, and that's an entirely different problem.
Mm-mm-mm. So there is a framework that you all have called Total Leader. Can you
Yeah.
just walk us through a little bit about what that is all about? Who it's for, and what it's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is for anyone that desires to be a leader in all areas of life, especially in organizational leadership, right? And so it's a four-step process. However, there might be some other steps you can kind of insert there. I can talk about those, but each step has to deal with a level of leadership. So one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to change the world, draw a circle around yourself and change what's inside of it first. So we start there. We start with what's inside of that circle, which is me. We love to point the finger and say they need to, they need to, they need to. In reality, we should say, whoa, 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 what do I need to do? Right? We're all of us struggle with pride in different ways, right? So we all need a little humility and say, I may be good in certain things, but I can always get better. And also, honestly, I have some blind spots. I bet I'm really bad, right? So we need something external to reveal those blind spots to us. So our first step in Total Leader is effective personal productivity, which is I just got to manage the 24 hours I've been given. Now, some people may say, I'm good. I manage my time. I've got my calendar. This is totally different than that. This is a priority management program, not just a time management one. People will say, no, look how organized my calendar is. Look, like it's all color coded. Well, what I see a lot of times when I see that, it's just a full calendar that's color coded. And that looks to me like someone who's so busy, they're going to burn out even though it's color coded, right? It's a really cute burnout, but it's still a burnout. Like you designed it really well, but you're still gonna be exhausted by the end of the day. What we're saying is, no, no, no. We want you to be like less busy and more productive. Both of those things can be true. And so we tackle that in our programs. Like what's actually important, right? We got to start there, manage our time before we can lead anything. Then it's personal leadership, leading ourselves before we can lead anyone else, right? If we can't lead ourselves, again, draw that circle around ourselves, we can't lead others. Then we go to motivational leadership, which is that leading a team, right? Casting a vision for our team, empowering our team. And this is where a couple other programs can get mixed in here as well. We've got one called effective coaching and empowerment. So I would say effective motivational leadership is leading a team. I would say effective coaching and empowerment is leading the individuals on the team. Instead of as a unit, you're empowering each individual. So some people may need help in both areas. Some people may just need help in one or the other. But then we go to that last step, which is effective strategic leadership, which is that organizational leadership, casting a vision, implementing that vision, purpose, mission statements, and actually implementing that mission and all those things for a long-term strategy. And then once you've done that, you can manage yourself, lead others, and lead an organization all together, right? So that's our total leader process that we would encourage anyone who's interested in leadership to go through. You may not be at the motivation, team leadership, or strategic leadership levels yet, but everyone can do personal productivity and personal leadership and start there for that personal mastery set
Mm,
of programs.
I think we could all use a little of that personal
Me
mastery. I know
too.
I could. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
All right. There's also programs that have acronyms. I love acronyms. Tell me about Profile Evaluation System, PES, and maybe also Developmental Needs Inventory, DNI.
Yeah, so these are our assessment suite, right?
Okay.
So if you've read Jim Collins' Good to Great, right? He talks about something called the hedgehog concept, which is like hedgehogs know what they're good at and they do that one thing, right? We know what we're world class at, and we try to focus on that one thing, which is our leadership development programs, like I just talked about. However, just because you want to be the best at something doesn't mean you can't do other things. So the other things we do are simply things to build up the results that come from using our programs, right? So we do standalone workshops. We don't do standalone webinars and assessments, and there's an assessment for everything now. Always has been. And there's even more now because you can go on ChatGPT and say,
Mm.
create me a disc style assessment and make it different than the actual disc, and it'll do it just like that. Now, is that ethical? I don't think so. Should you do that? I sure hope not. Are people doing it? I bet they are, right? And so this assessment space, you should be nervous if you're just offering these assessments with no backup. Like,
Yeah.
why this assessment? Why not this one, right? So do we have assessments? 100%. But they go hand in hand with our programs to maximize results for long-term change. Do we do webinars and workshops, and do we have a success planner it's called our My Time personal success planner. It's like a calendar system, but even more than that, it's a goals system, right?
Mm.
Is it the best of, all these things? It's the best that goes hand in hand with the LMI process. So if you're going through the total leader and you want to maximize your measurable results, we encourage you to use our assessments and use our planners because they've been fine-tuned to go hand in hand with our programs to maximize your results. So that's what those are. There's that supporting cast to the main stars of the show.
Mm-mm-mm. So good. Have you taken these as well? Do you get to take these as the president?
Yeah, yeah. So I took them especially when I started, right?
Okay.
And so yes, I'm very familiar with them. The problem with personal assessments is sometimes you don't like what you see. So then you have to go back and retake them. Then you have kids and you
Oh,
say, I better grow in patience and all these things, right? And as life change happens, it's good to revisit these things and see how we've changed as people as well. So, and that's one note I will make on assessments. Um, there's like this cancerous ideology in the assessment world that you take an assessment, it tells you what you're like, and then you say, well, that's just how I am. I'm just this, therefore I can do this. It's like, no, no, no. An assessment, and this goes back to my biblical worldview, right? If an assessment reveals something that I struggle with, like my sin nature, I should say, okay, I need accountability to change that now. So for me personally, if I take one of these assessments, I go to my, biblical friends and I say, look, I don't like this about me. Is this true? And they say, yeah, dude, it's true. And I'm like, dang, that hurts. But like, okay, I get it, right? So I say, okay, how can we change this? Right? Let's work on this. Let's change. I don't want to just say, hey, you tend to, I don't know, whatever the negative things are. I mean, I've got a lot that I could say, but just for an example, right? Whatever those negative things are for you, right? I don't want to just take that assessment and say, well, that's just how I am. It's just, no, no, no. I don't want to just be like I am. I was just a kid at 3 years old that threw temper tantrums. I didn't stay that way, right? I'm 31 now, and I don't want to be the way I am at 31 when I'm 41. Just like I'm not the person I was at 21 now that I'm 31. We should always be improving and growing and changing things and realizing that we're never there yet. We have a lot more to
Mhm.
learn, a lot more to develop. We're always going to make mistakes. We always need to own up to those and ask for accountability to help us change those things and have the humility to admit that we're fallen, we don't have all the answers and we need help. So that's with assessments, it's to reveal those blind spots so that we can change them, not just to reveal them for no purpose.
I think that's the huge part of it that somebody miss. That's why at Focal Point we have to always give a debrief with any assessments we give so that they have the actual kind of meaning behind it and they're not just taking it for granted what the report shows and then going off and, you know, changing their life based on just what they think they're reading.
Yeah,
There's a science behind it. We use DISC. Actually, you mentioned DISC earlier. That's one of the ones that we use a lot, but also driving forces and EQ. One of the fondest assessments I took was actually for spiritual gifts with our church a number of years
yeah,
back, and one of my
yeah,
favorite parts of it was we got to see the top three that we assessed as like our top three spiritual gifts, but then we got to choose one as well that wasn't those three that we wanted to actually work on and grow, and
yeah.
just really good activity that went with that.
I've taken that as well. It's so eye-opening, so helpful. I encourage anyone who's listening or watching this, take that. It's
Yeah.
great. Fantastic.
Uh,
Yeah.
So the leadership philosophy of LMI is a big part of treating people well and having servant leader principles. How do you bake that into an organization that maybe isn't um, Christian or that isn't faith based in that way?
Yeah. So that's where I would say when I say we're faith-based, I think what's really funny is like every single new business book that's out, right? It's all the ideas that work in a business, you could find it in scripture that 2000 years ago, 3000 years ago, right? And so are there new like nuances? Sure. Right? And are those helpful? Absolutely. However, the core concepts for how to function with others and to serve others and to you know, love others well, like that's been around for way longer than we've been here, than you and I have been here, right? So these things go way back, thousands of years. And so I think sometimes our when I say faith-based, that means those core concepts, those core fundamentals. We're not saying that we have this brand new ideology in leadership that, is some new word or something. No, no, no. Just these are things that have been here forever, and we're still struggling with them. We've gotten no better at living this out. Or we still need a process. It still goes against our human condition to do all of these things well. So if we don't have a process guiding us in the right way, we're going to trend towards our probably what I would say is our sin nature, right? And you may not call it that, or someone may not call it that, but that's what I call it. And so companies, whether they're Christian or not, or faith-based or not, or whatever, right? You cannot have a thriving organization for a long time, maybe for a little while, people can get by,
Hmm.
when you treat people like they don't matter, when you don't care about them as real people, when you always put profits over people, when you never serve anyone, when you take advantage of people that are less fortunate, all these things, you can't do that. You just can't do that. Um, Now, do some companies do that, and are they at the top of the stock exchange sometimes? Sure. Will that always be the case? I don't think so. I think they're going to fall eventually. I think they will. And even if they don't, is it just the right thing to do? Yes. So what I will say though is what you see time and time again, a lot of times places that are voted like the best place to work, right? They'll do those surveys. They're companies that are insanely profitable and people love working there and they stay there a long time and they have a huge impact in their community and people make a good living doing it and all these things, right? And so when we say it's, faith-based, we're just saying, look, whether you believe where this comes from or not, that's another conversation for another time. But all of history points to these core fundamentals help any organization, any society, anything grow, right? And so what we would say is we want to help you grow, but also the things that are going to help you grow. It's not some brand new idea. What's new is how we're going to help you implement it with tracking and
Yep.
accountability and our goal setting process and all these things. All of our process combined together is going to tap into these like ancient truths that have never changed and that you can apply to your own life and your own organization to thrive. Will that probably make you more profitable? Yeah, we see that all the time. We had someone recently, they were halfway through a program, and they got a 656% return on their investment halfway through. Okay, we had another company where they got such good results, they had to issue a statement because they're publicly traded in the country they're in. And they say, hey, our stock jumped so much based on this. It wasn't because of like there was nothing shady going on. They had to legally release a statement saying this is why we got so profitable. It's because of the programs they did with us. So can that happen? Does that happen all the time? Yes. But let's say even if it doesn't, is it still just the right thing to do to serve people well? Yes. And if you would say the answer is no, then you're not someone we want to work with anyways. So I'm not too worried about it. We want to
Hmm.
work with people who want to serve people well and put people over profits. Now, the problem with that is there's a thing called toxic empathy, right?
Hmm.
Where in the past, people had no empathy. Potentially, that's a stereotype. It's like you just do your job, put your head down, we don't care. We can almost like swing the pendulum the other way, right? And say, we just care about people. It's not about the company. We don't care. And then you start giving away everything for free. Your company goes out of business. And it's like, well, now I really can't care for anyone because we had to fire everybody, right?
Hmm.
So that's not good either. So there's this balance of like, we have to earn a profit, we have to earn revenue and provide a valuable service and we have to take care of people. With LMI, what's beautiful about what we do is the only way we make a profit is by actually helping people. So we've just combined those things, right? And so that's kind of how it works for us.
I'm curious your thoughts on the idea of corporate layoffs. I was very fortunate at Toyota. They were morally opposed to them. We had a downturn where we actually had to stop production on several of our lines for weeks. And at no point in time did they ever consider laying off full-time employees. We had to terminate contracts for some of the contract employees, but that was as far as it went. And so I wonder, there are other companies, even in town where I live, that are very quick to say, oh, it's just the season of corporate layoffs. There go 1,000, there go 1,500. And I just, for the life of me, I can't understand why you would work there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the blessings I have when I joined LMI. Our corporate office is a really small team, so it doesn't necessarily apply as much to our corporate office. But what I will say about our corporate office is I showed up, I remember like the first day I showed up and I started looking around talking to everyone. I said, all of y'all have been working here longer than I've been alive. And not in like a bad way, in like the best way. It's like, so people just don't leave. They just stay. And like, what a gift, what a blessing. I'm like, a lot of people I think show up and the person that's like training them is like, yeah, I've been here 2 years and they're like the senior employee now. It's like, well, why is everyone leaving? That's pretty scary. So that's a huge blessing, right? Now, the flip side of that is, we're a more of an independent business model, right? Where we have franchise owners and those things, but those people tend not to leave either. They stay for a long time, which is great because we get to glean wisdom from people who have been doing this for a long time. It's not just our opinions about what works, it's about what actually works. Um, so that's a little bit about us, but what we see in the marketplace in general, to your question, we have a lot of companies, and I feel for them, right? It's easy to like throw stones, right? But I do feel for some of the leaders because if they're publicly traded, they have to show growth quarter by quarter, which I think that's a whole nother conversation. That's the
Mm,
problem, is that
mm,
you're not thinking 10 years down the road, you're thinking quarter by quarter by quarter. So if you're having a quote unquote bad quarter, we got to fire everybody because that way we have to turn a profit. Well, you didn't turn a profit, you just fired people. So you laid off those salaries. Now it looks like you're profitable, right? And so now, shareholders are happy or whatever. That's a whole nother conversation. What we see consistently is companies that hold on to people in the midst of those trying times. They may have a few down quarters, but over time they grow back. They outgrow the others, right? And they have that culture that that's what they do. People stay. People don't just yeah, tough month, yeah, you're gone. Or this
mm,
project's over, yeah, you're gone. If someone's gone, it's for a good reason, right? And when I say good reason, that's a whole nother, can of worms there, but like there is a reason. It's like this is ending because of this. And it's very clear. And it's not just this swipe of the pen, 1,000 people, 500 people. We deal with a lot of companies that'll come to us and we don't know what's wrong with our culture. People are, not committed and blah blah blah, all these things. Well, come to find out, they're always just laying off these huge mass layoffs at different times. And then, well, no wonder people are kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out because they don't know if they have any security at all. They're like, am I, economic downturn, am I gone? Am I not? And so that's one thing where casting that vision and saying, here's how we're going to handle these scenarios and these seasons can be really helpful. But again, I don't have an answer to this, but I also say that's hard because people said that. Then you have 2008 happen, and then you have 2020 happen, and people who
mm.
said they wouldn't lay off, then they did, right? So it's like, well, can we even believe what you say now? And also, am I here? Do I know what happened in those boardrooms, right? To make them make that decision that they had to lay off some people? I don't know. Because if the entire company closes, right, then everyone's out of a job. So I'm not, it's I don't know the answer, and I don't think anyone does. If they say they do, I think they're lying.
Mm.
Has to be on a case by case basis. But from my lens, biblical lens, it's I want to have a conversation and say, okay, or you just jumping the gun. Let's be slow. If you're going to lay off this many people, right, you better have a really good reason, right? And I can't think of many where that would come in, but at the same time, I don't want to immediately say it was just this or that. It's okay, let's have a conversation, figure that out. And that's again where we come in is, hey, what if you invested in your people when other people were laying people off? Because if you invest in them, sure, it may hurt your cash flow right now, but they're going to be so loyal and they're going to stay. Your team chemistry is going to grow. Your results are going to grow so much that by the time everyone else is having to rehire and re-onboard and retrain, you're just flying past them. So you got to think of that 5 to 10 year down the road line. And with that lens, through that lens, you can see that getting rid of people and then bringing a bunch of new people and then getting rid of them and bringing new people, there's no way that's sustainable. It doesn't seem like that works. And it's also, again, probably just not the right thing to do in most cases.
Yep, 100% agree with that. I think there's one company in particular I can think of that has somehow found long-term success while doing that, and it's a little bit kind of that American conglomerate. You're so big that it's impossible to really fail as a company when you're that big,
Mm,
but you can
yeah.
use your people as just expendable capital, and it's I hate to see it. It just it makes me a little bit nauseous. So,
No, sure. I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
all right. Jonah, scaling leadership development globally for LMI. What has your all's delivery model looked like across the continents?
Yeah. So again, our programs deal with the human condition, right? And so with the human condition, that's regardless of culture, regardless of where you are, economic standing, your industry, no matter what. These are just core concepts that work with everyone everywhere at all times. However, it would be pretty foolish of me as a Waco, Texas guy to think, hey, you know what? I can facilitate a program in XYZ country. It's like, ah, I could, right? I could. Is it going to be as well done as someone who understands the local culture, understands what's going on, can apply it through the lens of their society? No, no way. I can't do that, right? So our concept is good enough that I could try to get out of the way as a facilitator of our programs and people would still get results. That's true. Is it going to be as good as someone else locally doing it? Absolutely not. We maximize results by saying we've got this human condition programs that we work with, but then that's all facilitated and implemented locally with our partners around the world. And this is where I say, like, when we talk about servant leaders and stewardship, our people in around the world are the people doing that. And they are just world class. When I say world class, not like world class thought leaders and people up on stages all the time. Some of them are, but no, world class servants. And that's what I care about. The world doesn't need more
Mhm.
gurus or thought leaders or people writing good articles. It needs people actually serving people. And that's what our people around the world are doing. The amount of times we hear people that join us and they say, I've been in the corporate world for this long. I want to serve people through my business. I actually want to make a difference, right? And they join us. Then they go do that, right? That's what we see time and time and time again. And so that's how we implement it at that local level and scale it is through local representation, people who understand what's going on there.
Perfect. And then tell me a little bit about what you all call champions, leadership champions.
Interesting. So you may want to remove this from the recording. I'm not sure what you're
Okay.
referring to.
You don't know. Okay, we could cut that out. It looks like it. Yep, got it.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
I'll skip that.
Sorry.
That's okay. I wonder if that was
Okay.
something that snuck in from a different outline, maybe. No worries. So Jonah, I'll go to this, the final question. It's
Okay.
about the title of the podcast, Making More. Fill in the blank. Making more blank is most important to you at this point in your life and in your career.
Disciples of Jesus.
Okay, that's a big one.
Not even, there's nothing else that even comes close. Nothing. And if that's not you, you being whoever's listening to this, that's okay. I get that. Um, but man, you can have all the money in the world. You can achieve every goal you've ever wanted. You can drive the nicest car, have the nicest house, have the best family, achieve every goal, go on every trip, see every beach, every mountain, and you are going to be left wanting more. I have never heard of someone on their deathbed saying, you know what, I wish I would have worked a little bit more. You know what, I wish I would have XYZ bought this or spent this or made more. It never comes down to that. It doesn't seem like. I'm young. I don't have it all figured out, but I'd like to look at those who have gone before me and like, what can I pick from them? And I see people that made disciples and lived as a disciple. Those are the ones that live the fulfilled lives. They were joyful even in the midst of hardships. Life didn't get easier. A lot of times it got harder, but they had joy in the midst of it. And that's all I could ask for. Man, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
I love that. It's so true. It's something that we've lived. We've been at a church in Greenwood, Indiana, since 2017, I think. They just celebrated their 10-year anniversary, and that's truly their
Oh, that's
mission.
awesome.
It's what they hold up is making more disciples. And so I keep wanting to
Love
have
it.
our executive pastor on. I think that would be what he would probably raise as his making more answer as well. I'll
Love
let him
it.
go. So it'll be a good conversation. Jonah,
Please
speaking of good
do.
conversations, thank you so much information, so much just a wealth of knowledge. And Where can people learn more about LMI and what you all are doing?
Yeah, they can visit our website at lmi-world.com. They can go there. They can go visit our page on LinkedIn. Whatever they want to do, whatever social media, we're on all of those. But it would probably be best to just go to our website, and I wouldn't just read about us. If you want to actually know more about us, reach out, and we'll put you in touch with one of our people around the world. Not because they're just going to immediately try to sell you something. We want to know your story, where you come from, why'd you reach out, what stuck out to you, how can we serve you. So if you want to connect with someone local to you that's going to love and care for you well, let us know. We'd love to set you up with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jonah Erbe, thank you so much.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Making More. If today's conversation sparked something in you, let's connect. You can find me on LinkedIn and Threads at Coach Fisher FPT, or by visiting billyfisher.focalpointcoaching.com to learn more about how I help leaders create clarity, build momentum, and make more of what matters. This recording is copyrighted by Engineered Consulting Incorporated. Until next time, take care.